The Fever are undefeated on Barbie night.
That is a real good win. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, we only beat the Sky by 15. They didn't have Angel Reese. Well, we didn't have Caitlin Clark. That is a good win. That is by 100 miles the best the Chicago Sky has played since Ariel Atkins went down injured.
The Fever just embarrassed the Chicago Sky on Barbie night. And guess what? Caitlin Clark wasn't even playing. Well, everyone's been worried about how the Fever would survive without their superstar. Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, and Aliyah Boston decided to put on a clinic. The Sky got absolutely cooked, and the reactions are priceless.
I'm beginning to suspect the Indiana Fever are a better team than the Chicago Sky. Don't ask me why I believe that or think that. It's just a sneaking suspicion that I have. I mean, it could be the fact that the Fever spank them every time they play.
Do you think the Fever are actually better than people give them credit for, even without Caitlin Clark? So, here's the thing that's absolutely hilarious about this whole situation. Everyone's been acting like the Indiana Fever would completely fall apart without Caitlin Clark, like the team would just crumble into dust and blow away in wind. Well, turns out that's complete nonsense, because they just went out and demolished the Chicago Sky on what was supposed to be the Sky Special night. This was Barbie night, which is basically Angel Reese's whole thing, except Angel Reese wasn't even there because she's dealing with a back injury. How perfect is that? The one night that's practically designed around her, and she's sitting at home watching other people play basketball. But that's just the beginning of how this whole thing went sideways for Chicago. The Sky were missing basically half their team. Angel Reese out, Mariah Jefferson out, and Haley Van Lith out again because apparently she's made a glass to that point. You're not even fielding a real team anymore. You're just throwing whoever's healthy onto the court and hoping for best. But somehow, the Fever still managed to make this game way closer than it should have been, which is either impressive for Chicago or embarrassing for Indiana, depending on how you want to look at it.
Come out of this like 35 points from Kelsey Mitchell, 6 assists. I definitely saw a 7th in there where Aliyah Boston missed a pretty easy bunny. But that means Kelsey Mitchell was sharing the ball. She also got 3 steals and she made a few disruptions. And honestly, her defense has grown exponentially. I bet one of the best, if not the best, 2-guard in the league right now, which is what happened last season. It just took Kelsey Mitchell a little while to really heat up. And then in her position, there wasn't a 2-guard better in the league at the last half of last season. Makayla Timpson. This was a great game for Makayla Timpson to be put in. She got to practice her offense, something that I really
Let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell for a minute, because this woman just put on an absolute show point, 35 points, shooting 63% from the field, going 7 for 10 from three-point range. Those aren't just good numbers. Those are video game numbers. She was out there playing like she had cheat codes activated, hitting shots from everywhere on the court while the Chicago defense just watched in horror. The funny part is that Mitchell has been doing this kind of thing all season, but nobody wants to give her credit because everyone's obsessed with talking about Caitlin Clark. Well, guess what? When Clark's not playing, Mitchell steps up and reminds everyone that she's been one of the best guards in the league this whole time. She had 6 assists, too. So it's not like she was just chucking shots up there. She was running the offense and making everyone around her better. But here's what really gets me about Mitchell's performance. The Chicago defense had no answer for her whatsoever. They weren't double-teaming her. They weren't trying to trap her. They just let her do whatever she wanted all game long. It's like they forgot that she exists or something. Maybe they spent so much time preparing for her, Caitlin Clark, that they completely ignored the other elite guard on the team. Sophie Cunningham had herself a solid game too, which is important because people have been questioning whether she deserves her starting spot. She's been in a bit of a shooting slump lately, and Lexi Hull has been pushing for more minutes. But Cunningham showed up when it mattered and knocked down some big shots, including a 3-pointer late in the game that basically put the Sky away for good. The whole starting lineup situation with the Fever is actually pretty interesting right now. Hull has been coming off the bench recently because her performance dipped a little bit, but she outplayed Cunningham in this game and showed that she's not going to just accept being relegated to a bench role. The competition between those two is only going to make both of them better, which is exactly what the Fever need.
Boston, not a great game for her, but somehow she flirted with a triple-double. She had 6 assists at the first half, and then she had none at the second half. So she did not get her triple-double. I think that she showed a lot of signs of frustration against Camila Cardoso. Camila was kind of cooking her. I don't know what it is about Camila, but Camila does kind of give Aliyah Boston problems. I do think that her combination with Natasha Howard...
Then there's Aliyah Boston, who somehow flirted with a triple-double despite. not having what anyone would call a great game. She had some issues dealing with Camila Cardoso, which isn't exactly shocking because Cardoso always seems to over her problems for whatever reason. Boston got frustrated at times. You could see it on her face, but she still managed to contribute in multiple ways. The funny thing about Boston's performance is that she had 6 assists in the first half and then 0 in the second half. It's like she forgot that passing was part basketball after halftime. But even with that weird stat line, she was still productive and showed why she's such an important part of this team's success. Natasha Howard, on the other hand, had one of those games that you just want to forget about immediately. 0 points, 0 rebounds, playing only 12 minutes because the coach mercifully put her out of her misery. Sometimes basketball just do us and go your way, and this was definitely one of those nights for Howard. The good news is that she's been solid all season, so one bad game do us erase all of that.
I do have to say that. However, moving on to Chloe Bibby. Chloe Bibby hits the court like 15 seconds later, does exactly what they brought her to do, spot up, knocks down a 3. And you know,
the real story, though, might be Chloe Bea making her debut with the Fever. She was only signed to a 7-day contract, which is basically a tryout, but she came in and did exactly what they needed her to do. 8 points in 10 minutes, knocked down some threes, played solid defense, and brought energy off the bench. If she keeps this up, that 7-day contract might turn into something more permanent. What's interesting about Benham is that she feels a specific need for the Fever. They've been looking for a stretch four who can space the floor and hit threes. And she showed in her first game that she might be that player. She's young. She's got fresh legs. And apparently the coaching staff told her to bring energy and pace, which is exactly what she did. The Fever are being smart about this whole situation, too. They're not just signing players immediately without seeing how they fit with the team. They learned their lesson from the Dana Evans situation where they brought someone in and it didn't work out after just 9 games. Now, they're taking their time and actually evaluating whether players can contribute to winning basketball. Michaela Simpson had a really good game, too, which is encouraging because her offense has been a work in progress, that she's got all the physical tools and offensive instincts, but sometimes she gets tunnel vision and doesn't make the right reads. In this game, she looked more confident and made some nice plays, including a beautiful rebound that showed off her athleticism. The crazy part about this whole game is that it should have been a complete blowout from the beginning. The Fever were destroying Chicago in the first half, and it looked like it was going toward one of those games where the mercy rule should kick in, but then the guys somehow fought back and made it a 4-point game at one point, which had to be embarrassing for Indiana. Rachel Banham was basically single-handedly keeping Chicago in the game, hitting 3-pointers left and right, and preventing what should have been a 30-point loss from turning into exactly that. She was on fire from beyond arc, and every time it looked like the Fever were going to pull away, she'd hit another shot to keep the sky within striking distance. But here's the thing that really tells you everything you need to know about these two teams. Even when Chicago made their run and got back into the game, Kelsey Mitchell always had an answer. Every time the Skies started to build momentum, Mitchell would come down and hit a big shot to stop the bleeding. That's what elite players do, and it's exactly what the Fever needed in Caitlin Clark's absence. The fact that Chicago even made it close is kind of impressive when you think about how many players they were missing. Camila Cardoso actually put in effort for once, which is more than you can usually say about her performances. She was active on both ends and gave Boston some problems, which shows what she could do if she played with that kind of intensity consistently. But let's be real about what this game actually means in the bigger picture. The Fever have now beaten the Sky multiple times this season in different contexts, and it's not even close. They beat them in the season opener when both teams were healthy. They beat them earlier this season when Clark was out, and now they beat them again with both teams dealing with injuries. At some point, you or Vito just admit that the Fever are simply a better team than the Sky regardless of who's playing or who's injured. The talent gap is real and it shows up every time these teams play each other. Chicago can make runs and keep games close, but when it matters, Indiana has more firepower and better execution.